Hello and welcome to a very special episode of That Peter Crouch podcast made possible by TNT Sports. TNT Sports takes you closer to the action than ever before, which will be exactly the case this Saturday with the pinnacle of European football, the Champions League final. This isn't just football, this is the Champions League. Today we're recording from a location next to Wembley where Dortmund face Real Madrid this Saturday at 8 p.m. And that's not all. TNT has given us two of their finest. Mr. Ally McCoist and Joe Cole.
It must be on the way upstairs, Joe.
How are we, boys?
Brilliant, Crouchy. Good form. Looking forward to the game, actually. Looking forward to the game. A bit of action before it. We've got a couple of things to do before it. But hey, looking forward to it, mate.
Pretty lively, isn't it? What memories of Wembley? We're literally round the corner from Wembley.
Yeah.
You've told me a great story, Ally. I have to say, Euro 96.
Oh, aye. I mean,
you've told me this off camera before. I don't know if you've told it.
I'll tell the boys. I mean, my first memories of Wembley, believe it or not, I would be 1977 when we took the stadium back up the road with us. You must remember. You must have seen footage of 1977 when the boys are swinging on the crossbar and taking the park up the road with us. I remember that big Lord McQueen scored the winning header, and there's a photograph that sticks in my mind. This Scots guy sitting on a broken bar at one point. You know what I mean? Brilliant. But Crouchy, I went to Wembley in 1979 as a 17-year-old boy. Yeah. Me and my mate Noxie, we just jumped on the train down to London. We stayed at his aunt and uncle's out. Would it be Amersham? Would that be right? Amersham?
Yeah. That's your way, isn't it? Amersham, like Watford.
Watford kind of way. Down the Met line.
Jumped in the train, went to the game, beat 3-1. Keegan get 2. And that was my first memories at Wembley. But lucky enough, not a great record playing there. But the story you're talking about was infamous for us, famous for probably you guys, was the 96 game at Wembley.
Well, like that's iconic. Iconic.
And England were under a bit of pressure because they'd drawn one each, I think, with Switzerland in the first game. And we had good result. We got a draw against the Dutch, I think, at Villa Park. And it was all the carry on, remember, with the dentist cheering on that. I mean, you boys, couldn't behave yourselves.
How did that go down from a Scottish perspective? Obviously for us, we loved it.
Pissing ourselves in taking pressure right off us.
None of that happened in Scotland's camp.
We were away we went on a trip to America, right? You boys were in Singapore, getting off your heads, right? We go off the plane. We go off the plane and return, arrive back at Glasgow, and the headlines the next day were Scots and sober sensation. Do you know what I mean? What's going on? These English boys are showing us the way to do it, sitting in dentist chairs, getting tequila flung down their neck, man. Anyway, so we went into the game, and we knew the English boys were under a bit of pressure because effectively the press had turned a little bit, and we thought to ourselves, we could maybe nick something here, and if we nick something, it'd probably the end of the road for English lads. In the first half, we played well. Went in at nothing each. I dare I say it, I thought we were slightly the better team. Not a lot in it. And then, of course, great substitution. But I don't know if you remember the substitution. Jamie Redknapp.
Jamie come on, didn't he? Yeah.
Jamie come on. Brilliant joy was. Terry, then was first class, turned the game. We went 1-0 down, I think. Brilliant header. Shearer at the back post. Brilliant goal. And then we get the penalty. And I was rooming with Gary Mack, right? And Gary and I, we'd played together in boys football all the way through. We played at Firth Park Boys Club Motherwell, under 13s, under 14s, under 15s, all the way up. So Gary and I were the stick as thieves. So, of course, the story is he goes to take the penalty. And I'm telling the four of you right now, you got to believe me.
Yuri Geller.
Ball moved.
It did move.
By the way, I swear to God, the ball. Now, it didn't affect the strike. He struck it really, really well, right? But at this day, that Yuri Geller tells everybody who's upstairs in a helicopter and all that crap. I'd have went out with some anti-aircraft missile. Anyway, David makes a brilliant save, makes a great save, and can rest his history. We beat 2-0. Gascoigne's goal, which was genius, absolutely out of this world. I feel for Big Colin every time it gets shown, and it gets shown every blinking week. It seems like Big Colin Henry's distraught every time it gets shown. Anyway, so we're back at the hotel, and Gary's distraught, man. Like, you've no idea. You can imagine.
Yeah.
So, wee Craig Brown says, right, disappointing result. He says, I want you on the bar. We're going to have a couple of pints. He says, we've got Switzerland on Tuesday. We'll have a couple of pints tonight. We'll get out of our system, and away we go. So, all the boys are doing the bar. There's no sign of Gary, right? Because I've left the room. He says, I'll be done in 5 minutes. So there's no sign of him. So it's about another, maybe 45 minutes. We bleeper, we Craig Brown, she says, Coisty, come on. He says, come and get your pal, come and get your mate. So I'm up into the room, Joe, and says, right, Gary, come on. He's on the phone. He's phoning every day at this point, you know. He was on a hotline at the Samaritans, man, honestly, every day, right? So I says, come on, you. I says, let's go down the road. I says, you're the skipper. He went, Coisty, I can't. He says, I just can't. I said, I can't get. I went, all right, come on. So I went downstairs. I said, he might be doing about 10, 15 minutes. So no signing for another half an hour, 40 minutes. So I said, right, I'm getting back up to get him. I've had a couple of pints. I need to go and get the captain, man. So I goes up the stair, right, opens the door, says, Gary, he's still on the phone. I says, come on. I says, get yourself down there. I says, the boys are waiting on you. You're the captain. We're having a couple of pints. There's a sandwich here. We need to go on with it. We've got Switzerland on Tuesday. We've got on with it. He says, Coach, I'm not kidding you, and I can't. I'm and obviously really, really upset. I said, Gary, I said, your mates are downstairs. I said, it's far more important. I said, you've missed a penalty. It's not as if. I said, I just stay where you are. I said, I've seen him on it.
You're fucked. You've let us all down.
But to be fair to him, a wee smile cracked across his face, and down he came, and we just got on with it, man. Brilliant, happy days.
Brilliant.
That's the end of the podcast. We need to talk Champions League. Obviously, like this is what this is all about. So, Joe, should we start with you? What is your favourite go-to Champions League memory?
Do you know what? The best game, I think the best Champions League game I've ever played in was the when we played Barcelona at the Bridge. I think it was a quarter-final. And we won 40. Remember the Ronaldinho goal where he's like...
Yeah.
So it was the weirdest game ever because we'd played them the week before and it was with Jose and he was just enemy number one. I didn't know, like they was waiting at the airport for him. They just ignored the team. Like he had about 4 security around him. He riled them up so much. And then they battered us over there. It was 2-1, but it should have been 4 or 5. I think Drogba got sent off. But then we played him at the Bridge, and the first 30 minutes was probably the best football we've ever played. 3-0 up, cruising. And then Ronaldinho done that thing. I've never to this day ever seen a player silence a stadium like that. Like, you know, when you just see like a work of genius, because he had like
It
John.
was like a toe poke,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it
It was a bizarre little shimmy and a standing finish.
You know, in the game, he's in a position, right? He's got John Terry in front of him. I think Cavalier in front of him. He's got Petr Cech behind him. And then someone behind him, he didn't even have enough to do his backswing to have a shot. So you think you're not worried at all. And he just done this bendy toe poke thing and he just went in and the whole ground just went just complete silence. And they got them back in the game. We ended up winning it, but it was just an incredible game. Honestly.
Genius, mate, wasn't it?
Oh, it's
Do you know when you're doing obviously like with the commentary, like when you're in the stadium or when you're playing or even do what we do now? Like, do you think the Champions League feels different like to any other competition? Like, especially with some of the comebacks we've seen recently, the drama and some of the games.
Mate.
Like,
well, get back. You can argue one of the best we've ever seen in history was Liverpool at home. I mean, dear me, what that was. Pardon me, the comeback, all comebacks. That. I mean, but we've been lucky. It's given us some incredible memories. The Champions League. I get back to the old European Cup as well. I can remember '76. I think Bayern Munich won 1-0 at Hampden. I remember that game. Werner Roth, I think, scored. And one of the great European finals of all time was Real Madrid again at Hampden. They beat Eintracht Frankfurt, and it's one of the most historical games. Puskas and Di Stefano and all these kind of guys. You know what I mean? So but what it is, guys. I think it's the best football tournament in the world, you know, by a country mile. Yeah, I really do.
I went to the European Cup final in '92. It was at Wembley because I grew up not too far from it.
We mentioned it, didn't we?
Barcelona, Sampdoria. Yeah, I was a Sampdoria fan. Like I used to love Sampdoria, loved Italian football. Ronald Koeman scored that.
Koeman,
Stoichkov, the old Wembley. Yeah,
Vialli
as well.
Vialli was it? He played.
Yeah.
Lombardo, Sampdoria.
That was it. That was the team.
That was my earliest European Cup memory of football, because they wore the orange kit, didn't they, Barca?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then what was the one before it?
Put the original, the home one on.
I think 91.
Wasn't Marseille, was it?
Marseille was the one I remember.
Yeah, Marseille was Papin and
Marcel scored, didn't he? That's my first one I remember watching. 91.
That was the year. To be fair, we were a goal away from getting the final.
Yeah.
We played when we went through that whole campaign undefeated,
Yeah.
we drew with Marseille at home and we drew with them away, and it ended up I remember we played them in Marseille. There was still a game to go, and it went 1-0 up. Frank Sauzet scored. It might have been the shot. I think it was Frank Sauzet scored, and then Durante scored an equaliser. What a hit it is, Joe!
Yeah.
I mean, what a hit outside the right tab. Barthez didn't even move. One of these ones starts outside the post, comes in for the corner, outside the post, and he drives it, just flies into the corner. And then at that stage, another goal, and we're in the final because it wouldn't have mattered. The last game wouldn't have mattered. Anyway, as it happens, we didn't get one, and the game finished 1 each. And they went through, and Basil Borley scored the winner in the final. They beat Milan 1-0.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
I was a glory hunter, to be fair. So I had a Marseille kit that year as well. Had the long sleeve Chrissy Waddle number.
Nice.
That's superb.
A question for you boys. The Champions League has been played at Wembley, or the European Cup been
Yeah.
played at Wembley before. Can you name the finals? Can you name what teams or was in it?
That is a question.
Well, there's
How many
Dortmund-
finals?
Dortmund and Bayern Munich right away.
Yeah.
yeah.
How many-
There's been 7.
Sids, how many? 7.
7, yeah.
Well, was there no Barcelona Man United?
Barcelona, Man United.
Yes.
The one we've mentioned there, obviously, Barcelona, Sampdoria.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ajax versus...
Oh, that's the niche. I didn't think you get that
I'll
one.
throw 19. I'll give it a year.
You're right.
Ajax, Panathinaikos.
Yeah.
That's
insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, to be fair,
Do you know what
that's
year?
It's early 70s. I'll say it might be 1970, but I'll say 72.
Oh,
71.
That's
That is good.
fantastic.
That's so
good.
impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. But that kind of, I can remember that. I'll tell you better than that. It went to replay, and Ajax won 4-1.
That's not on our sheet, so I'll have to tell you.
I think I might have shot myself right in the foot there.
Yeah.
I think it might have went to replay, and Ajax won. That was that great, brilliant Ajax team. Cruyff, Nieskens, Ruud Krol, Robbie Rensenbrink.
Didn't they win 3 in a row?
Brilliant.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, you won 3 in a row.
Yes, and then
yeah.
Bayern Munich won 3 in a row.
That was it, yeah.
Ali, when you commentate and when you do your stuff and there's millions of people watching, do you have notes or do you just know all this
Oh
stuff?
no, I've noticed, but I don't write down Ajax drew with Panathinaikos. That's just loving
That's
the
in-
game.
that's just in there.
That's just loving the game as a wee boy like we all did.
It's just
You know?
incredible. I think your knowledge on
Yeah,
this.
but you know what it's like. The guys, the stats guys, are worth their weight in gold. I mean, Joe in particular, they look after you so well, and they send you the stats for the games, you know, and you look at them. A lot of them you'll know already, but some of the stuff they send you is
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant.
Are these Bibles that you get just full of stats?
Yeah, there's all that as well, but you will have someone talking to you as well, if something comes up. And,
Yeah.
they're so good, aren't they?
Yeah, I love that.
Amazing.
But you're known to
lost that.
interview.
Oh,
Whoa.
I think
You have a sneaky look over, didn't you?
you know fine well, man.
I've heard you
Fletch,
before.
by the way, Fletch can't go for a coffee and leave his note. No, when I'm in town.
We'll just throw one,
Oh,
throw one
Crouchy.
out there.
Yeah, boys, it's up to the man for yourself, isn't it? Hey, it's not a team game up in that commentary box, pal. Don't worry about that. It's a loss in the jungle up there, Crouchy.
The worst thing is Fletch can't say to you on air, you go, you bastard, you fucking he just has to bite his lip to laugh.
He gets off his head because what I'll do is I'll take a note of it, right? But he doesn't know I've taken a note of it. And I'll throw in, and by the way, here's one for you, right? And he'll go like that because then he knows that he bastard looked at my notes. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, you got a couple left involving English teams.
I can throw another one at you.
170s.
Liverpool.
Come on, give me skin, boy.
Liverpool Bruges.
He's absolutely Ally McCoist in Ally McCoist.
That's a striker. He knows about that, doesn't he?
I've
Nicky
never
at the far post to tap on
I've
him.
never felt like Dan
I think you'll
Fletcher.
find Kenny Dalglish scored. Kenny Dalglish scored. I think you'll find as well.
Who gave him the ball then?
Who passed it to
Exactly.
Oh, well. But that's what they should
Graham
be known as
Souness.
now.
It was Graham Souness, and he had a wee dink over the goalkeeper.
You robbed someone else's notes. It's an Ally McCoist
It's
for
an Ally
me. You've done an
McCoist. Get
Ally.
a name for yourself.
You've done an Ally.
Imagine, Joe.
Ah, superb.
There's another one though.
Yeah, so
In the 60s.
Give us a year.
60s, late 60s.
Oh, of course it is. Man United,
Yeah.
Benfica 4-1.
68.
Yeah. Man
Stats.
United, Benfica 4-1.
Go on, Coisty.
Very well done.
Unbelievable question.
Eh,
Different
And I
class.
think
throw
we're
in,
done there.
I'll throw in Eusebio. I'll throw in Bobby Charlton, Brian Kidd, Best. And I don't know who got the fourth.
Boys, should we dig down on your experiences of playing in the Champions League? Should we start with you, Joe, with Chelsea United, the 2008 final? Where do we begin with this? What was the build-up like?
The build-up was just like, you have to keep it the same, didn't you? Sid was there, wasn't you? So like,
Of course.
it was. I was talking about this the other day actually. I thought, do you remember Billy used to come and do a little song with the chef, and he'd play the guitar, and we'd have a little sing-song the night before every away game. This wasn't Champions League. Billy,
I love the fact that's normal.
yeah, is that not normal?
That's just a normal way.
All right, yeah. So he'd get up, but then and then the lads would like start clapping away. And then when they'd had enough, bread rolls would get thrown at Billy, and then it'd be done. But I remember for the night, I wasn't nervous. I didn't think. I thought like normal game, but then everyone was like, like dancing a little bit more, and it was throwing a few more bread rolls at him. So something had changed.
Excitement.
Yeah, there's a bit more excitement, a bit more anticipation, and then the day of the game, just a horrible wait to the day of the game. And like in a normal big game, people ring your phones, and you got to sort out your tickets and all that. But for that game, I must have spent an hour because it was in Moscow as well. It weren't the easiest place to get people round and everything. So I spent an hour doing the tickets, but it's just ages to the game. And I think it's horrible playing against someone from your own country. And we was on the wrong end of it. And it was just when you're playing against someone, you prefer anyone else apart from any English team, but it was them. And it was the width of a post, man, for us.
Incredible, mate.
The width of a post.
I was JT after that when he was.
He was distraught. He was distraught, like and.
So got Gary Mack to give him a call.
I should have done. I don't know. I was actually sitting next to him, and like you there's nothing you can say.
Yeah.
No.
Like nothing you can say, because I played until about 110, 115 minutes, and I was 27, 28 at that time. I'd never taken a penalty in my career because at West Ham it was Di Canio, and not getting a penalty off of him. You've seen Frank try, didn't they? They had an argument for 5 minutes, and then Frank at Chelsea. So I'd never taken a penalty, even in the shootout. So,
be honest, were you delighted coming off, or were you
at the time
ready to take one?
Oh, good question. I wouldn't want my first penalty kick to be one to decide whether we win the Champions League or not.
Yeah.
But I was gutted I had to come off. But they asked me the day before. I think Avram or Clarkey asked me, would I take one? Of course you take one. It was but we had like Drogba, Ballack, Frank.
Not bad penalty takers.
Yeah, like we had proper penalty takers. And so I was number 6 on the list if I was still on the pitch. But Anelka, like one of the top strikers of our generation. So, of course, he come on. And he was the one who missed. Everyone remembers JT because he slipped, but we were still in it. That was to win the tour. That was to win it.
It was amazing.
What do you remember?
Yeah, I remember the build-up. It was... so, this obviously season before I was at Reading, so I've gone from like... that sort of level to magnitude of Champions League. So, and like all the press, the media, the build up for the day, all around it. But I remember getting to the stadium and it felt like an away game because the colour was red.
Yeah,
so it would be in Moscow. It felt like you was playing away from home. It felt like we was playing at Old Trafford. It was more geared for United rather than it was like a split down the middle. And then obviously the rain came, didn't it? And then
did you know it was only to about 3-4 years ago I was doing something like this, talking about it, and I didn't know it rained that night. And do you know what I mean? Do you know when you're so focused on the game, it smashed down from the all day and all night, and I just forgot. Do you know like how your mind plays tricks on you? I didn't know.
Isn't it funny what you mentioned there? And it's so true. Poor JT misses the penalty, but everybody kind of forgets about Nicholas Anelka missing the penalty. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah,
it's incredible, really.
It's mad. We had 2007. Obviously, we lost in Athens to AC Milan. But you beat us in that semi. Like that's something that blocked out of my mind. When you got in 2008, we talked about this on the podcast before.
Yeah, that's right.
He said to me, I said, "Who did they beat in that semi?" And he went, "You."
seriously did.
So I must have been on the pitch over 2 legs.
Yeah,
and I have blanked that out, but I can tell you every single detail about the semi that we won.
Yeah,
the year before.
I scored at Stamford Bridge in that 2007 1-0. I thought that's it. We've done.
Clear as day.
Yeah, and then
one guy I've won and Daniel Agger scored at Anfield. Yeah, and then we get through Dirk Kuyt scores the winning penalty.
And funny, I don't remember the 2008 semi-final either.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
God knows who scored in that one.
Yeah.
I've obviously just blanked it out.
Yeah.
But I can remember details of the final in 2007. Obviously, it was so frustrating. You know what I mean? Felt like that Milan team was there for the taking. It was probably a Milan team not as good as the 2005 one that Liverpool beat. Yeah. And they were older, and still had Kaka. You know what I mean? He was at top of his game then, and Inzaghi was got the goals, but.
Was it a deflection? One of the goals?
One at his arse and went in, and then the other one kind of beat the offside chapman around the keeper and finished it. But but the same thing. After that, you just go back to the hotel, had a few beers.
I was at the other one, Crouchy, and I still, honestly, God, to this day, I still cannot believe Liverpool won that Champions League.
Were you there in Istanbul?
I was there, mate.
Yeah,
and it was one of the most incredible games of football I've ever seen. I mean, you'd have thought they were absolutely dead and buried at half time. And then they come back and then only win it, as we know. And it was actually amazing. Do you know that where you're sitting watching it, you're going, what happened there?
Do you remember where we was?
I was with Joe Cole. I'm sitting there with Joe Cole, right, with the England squad. Where were we? In Chicago.
Chicago, man. Windy City.
In the Windy City, right? So I'm down the front. Obviously, I've got no clue that I'm going to be at Liverpool next year. And I've got no clue. I'm watching the game going, I know. What a great sight.
Hold on a minute.
I had no idea. I signed after Istanbul.
So there were no discussions at that point?
Not at all, no. It was towards the end of the summer.
So you watched that with total innocence, not knowing that you'd be the guy?
Not a clue, And then
incredible.
obviously watching it with Joe, and I've got to be honest, Joe was buzzing when they were 3 down. It was the ghost goal, wasn't it? It was the ghost goal. Yeah. He was so happy.
Yeah, it was horrible.
What did we do? We have an ice cream, or did we have?
We had an ice cream. No, we didn't have a beer. We were too young, still a bit nervous of Sven and that. But we had a few ice creams on the pier at the Windy City.
Yeah. I remember we left at half time, went back to the hotel, didn't we? And it was like 3-1 or 3-2, and it was like, let's get locked in for this one.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Well, so what do we make of the weekend of the Champions League final? Dortmund versus Real Madrid. What do we fancy?
Because my head's telling me Real Madrid.
I was starting to say, you always tell me about Ally McCoist. I was going to go for equaliser.
There's still time. My head's telling me Real Madrid, but I actually want Borussia Dortmund to do it. Just the underdogs.
Underdog story.
Yeah, the underdogs and the fans are unreal in it. And I think Adeyemi, Lightning McQueen, we like him to.
As he's known
in these parts.
Could become his name on these podcasts. These teams, they run and run.
Yeah. Right, so I just think they're going to bank in. This is the glimmer I see for Dortmund is Carvajal. I think struggles with. He's a great player, but I think he struggles with pace a little bit. Yeah. And I think there's no one quicker than him out. And if you can, I'm just thinking, if I'm the Dortmund manager, you know what you're going to do, and they've got to work the ball out to him. Sancho just operating inside. If he get him in behind Carvajal a couple of times, that's probably where I can see I want Dortmund to do it, but my head's telling me Real. What about you, Al?
I'm with you, mate. I'm the exact same. I don't know why. I've actually become attached to Dortmund a little bit because I did both games. I mean, their support. Yeah. I mean, in Dortmund, with that yellow wall they speak about, it was fantastic.
I've never played out there or been out there.
No, me
neither. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Played there a couple of times, mate. It's absolutely superb. Their fans, particularly at home, incredible.
Did you get much time with them?
Say that again.
Did you get much time with them? A few drinks and just get involved in that whole...
Sadly, whenever. Not as much as Jamie Carragher.
That's the thing.
Who probably didn't have drink for everybody, but they're great. They get there. I got there, obviously, with work. We got there a couple of hours before it, right? And there must be, I'm not kidding you, about 10,000 in the stadium. And they're all in there. And I'm looking at it, it's brilliant. And then I had a look at the beers. It's maybe, I don't know, €3 for a beer. So that's why.
Yeah. That's why it's so lively.
That's why it's lively. But they look after them. Yeah. And they get their transport. With a ticket, they get the transport to the stadium, to the city centre, all that kind of stuff. I mean, the Germans have, in many ways, have got it right. And they were brilliant against PSG, both games. Brilliant. The two centre-backs, man.
Defensively,
Jesus, Hummels and Slaughterbeck were just two old-fashioned, crouchy centre-backs. You're not getting biased, and that's it.
Ali, what about the centre-forward as well?
Phil Krug.
Yeah, I like him. I don't know. He's a bit uncompromising, but...
But lovely touch.
Yeah, what about the finish, by the way?
By the way, Crouchy,
it's unbelievable, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
Over the top and
the ball for Slaughterbeck over the top. He takes a brilliant touch. He has a wee look to see where the defender is, knows he's got it, and drills it. It's a great goal. But he's he's probably, you'd describe as maybe a kind of old-fashioned centre forward. But I'll tell you, see things like his touch and all that, Joe's brilliant, and laying it off. It's perfectly weighted. He had a couple of passes and layoffs for boys to hit first time.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to break a stride.
Yeah.
You know, he's a clever player. I think he's a good player.
And he's got pace around him as well.
There's
Yeah.
one thing to counteract though. Rudiger had Haaland. Like he's the quietest I've seen Haaland over 2 legs.
Yeah.
I thought Rudiger did a job on him.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Rudiger's like, I think that's probably, I think if you was to speak to Frank when he didn't play him as much at Chelsea, I think that was probably one of Frank's biggest mistakes as Chelsea manager. Because I think every time I've watched him play from there, he's been unbelievable. And he's gone on another level, and he just character. Yeah, he's but that's going to be an interesting battle. But he'll give him a different problem.
Of course he will.
Won't he?
Of course he will.
You know,
but he's I think Rudiger's one of these centre backs. You look at Man United against City the weekend. They don't play with centre forward, and sometimes centre backs like that, they're a little bit. Not so much as City boys, but they like to mark somebody. Yeah. You know, and I think Rudiger's one of these centre backs. He likes to have somebody right. You're my man. So you're right. It'll be a good tussle with those two.
Should we talk about Madrid quickly? If they do it, Jude Bellingham, obviously he's a global superstar already. We know what talent he is, but where does that put him again?
Oh, I think it's Ballon d'Or material. Yeah. I do.
It's got to cement it, isn't it?
Mate,
surely.
I love a kid. I really do. I think he's fantastic. I just think everything about him. On the pitch, out of this world. Off the pitch, out of this world. Yeah. Family look after it. The whole thing's too good to be true. Plus the fact, and I know you'll agree, I think you'll agree with me, he's got a wee bit about him as well. Yeah. Don't worry about it, he can play. But he's got a wee streak where, if need be, you know, I'm not always a nice guy, you know, which top players need, as you know.
I think when he went to Real Madrid, I think it does elevate you to another level. You know, like obviously we've got huge clubs in this country, but I just think when you go to Real Madrid, when you walk into an England dressing room, you know, for the Euros, and you just come back off the Champions League final and you've got your Real Madrid tracksuit on, I just feel like
I'd have worn it to the meet up.
Mate, he'd had his jeans on the night out.
I'd have been Los Blancos until Thursday.
I'd be sitting in Nando's in Glasgow flinging chicken wings about my Real Madrid top.
Can I have the paella and with a peri-peri?
Oiga, camarero.
I'd still be wearing it now. Yeah. But Ali, you're 61. You need to take that Real Madrid taxi off. I'll be
61. That's Macca's just arrived in.
That's probably why Jude's there and none of us played for Real Madrid. It'd have been too much for us.
Too much for us.
I don't mind telling you, that'd have been unbearable.
What about you boys on the day then, on Saturdays? Are you busy? What's the plans? Is there a lot of prep behind it?
It's all hard.
We're all involved in TNT Sports. We've got a big preview show, haven't we?
Yeah.
We have it.
So you here for the day? You're here early and you're just prepping up.
Yeah. The boys, I think you've been make up about back at 10, I'll be in about 12. the boys have got a bit of work to do, as you know, Sid, you know. I'll drop in, just get the clubber on and get on with it.
I like dust.
Make sure the light's okay and away I go.
It's pretty lively, isn't it?
Yeah,
we got Box Park thing tonight. We got a bit of we're at Box Park as a fans event tonight. Then obviously the Friday, I'm actually doing a dinner with Lindsay, like hosting a dinner, believe it or not.
Yeah, what was the year you did something with? Was it Camilla Cabello?
Yeah.
Did you end up singing with her?
That was Chelsea, wasn't it? Chelsea Porto.
I was teaching her the robot.
She was baffled, wasn't she?
She didn't want any part of it.
She wasn't having
when they're looking at the sponsors and the agent behind, like,
who signed me up? Who signed me up for this?
Doing any of that this year? Not got anyone on?
You know what? There is someone performing. I don't know if it's top secret or not. But
is it a secret? Do we know?
You should try and get out Lenny Kravitz by the way.
I just imagine it was Lenny Kravitz.
That's who you should be trying for. And you'd got equaliser in somewhere.
Could you imagine that?
That would be something else. Could
be amazing, man. I tell you right now, I'd pay money to see that. He's very, very good, that fella.
So you're not singing with anyone?
Lenny Kravitz and Peter Crouch. What a duet, man.
I really hope so.
I think he's cancelled anyway.
Yeah.
He spoke to that other young lady who was there a few years ago. It's good gives.
You know, last year, I'll be honest,
Swerve the tall geezer. He starts dancing in front of you.
He still thinks he's funny. That was 20 years ago. He's made a living out of that thing. So, Ali, you know, just for the game and stuff, like I've never done co-commentary. Have you done it before?
No.
No.
I thought you'd done it.
No. I've been thinking about doing it, but it's I think I'd like it, Al.
You'd love it,
You're
mate.
the Godfather, obviously.
You'd love it, mate. I'm telling you right now.
I get involved in the games anyway, so I'd like to give it a go. But it's one of them. You either got it or you ain't. So I don't want to. I probably want to go in at a big game like this. Maybe easy in smaller game. You're not fancy it, Crouchy?
No. I just obviously we've never done it. I was just going to ask because I know what our day consists of.
Yeah.
But like for you. You know, how would your Champions League final day be?
Well, we'll get, obviously, we've got, I think, the preview show to do as well.
After that.
And then I'll meet Fletch and I'll do my research, my notes. To be honest, I started looking at it today. You know, all the stuff comes through and you look through it. And what I do is, I've got a couple of pages in front of me, nothing too serious. I'll have my notes there, like pointers and things that you think the punters might listen, like facts and stats and stuff like that. Then what I do is I have the teams there and I put them into formation, you know, with their numbers, nationality, caps, stuff like that. I mean, I'll be honest with you, my research is nothing like as thorough as the commentators. Nothing like it, Sid, man. These boys are machines, you know, they're incredible. But at the same time, you've got to know your bits and pieces. Then we'll have a chat with Fletch, and then I actually like to get up to the co-coms place as quickly as possible, to be honest. I like to watch the boys warm up. And it was something I learned off like John Champion and the boys. Just silly wee things. Like, I mean, tomorrow's absolutely fine, right? Because you know all the players. But if you're doing an FA Cup tie, for example, early on, and it's great suspect it's Kettering versus Northampton, you might look at the centre forward, wears yellow boots, or the centre back has got curly hair, all that kind of stuff. Just so you like to watch them in the warm up.
It's interesting that because when I was at the World Cup and I was working with Sam Matterface, and I just we were chatting about it, and I thought the commentators actually. So I thought, imagine England got to the World Cup, won the World Cup. You're gonna say something that's gonna be immortal, like they think it's all over. It is now. And I had a few beers with him, and I was just saying, "God, you must have something in your head." And he went, "Yeah, I have." I went, "Go on then." He went, "No, I'm not telling you." So I thought, so I've tried a few more beers, and then he wouldn't tell me what it is. Because imagine that, like,
if they win it,
if they imagine you're England, it's all commentators have like an outro that where they know.
Kenneth Wilson home, right? They think it's all over. It is now. I mean, that's legendary stuff. I was getting hate mail for England, boy. Not bad right now. When they did the World Cup final with Argentina and France, right? And people forget the first half was quite quiet actually. Argentina kind of dominated, and then all of a sudden, bang! The whole thing exploded into a game, and it's madness going around. And I was doing it with Sam and Dicko, Lee Dixon, and they were mesmerised by this game. I mean, I keep thinking about Martinez taking the mickey out of Mbappe, and Mbappe scored a hat-trick against him, scored a penalty again. And I'm thinking, how can you take the mickey out? So Mbappe gets his hat-trick, right? And Sam's giving it large, plenty, it's all kicking off, and Dicko's giving it the whole bit. And I went, there you are. I said, that's unbelievable. I said, the first player ever to score a hat-trick in the World Cup final. And I left it a second, I went, well, all three have gone over the line. Of course.
Did you get pelters for that from people?
Funny.
That's brilliant.
West Ham boys were all
mate.
That was good. It was good fun. Good fun.
That is true, though. You need a big famous quote in the Champions League final, especially. Think of Clive Tilsley as well.
Yeah.
They always score.
That's right.
Of course, for United.
Yeah.
Ali, have you got one prepared? Have you got something up there?
No.
I've given you all the...
Do you need some ideas? Do you want us to brainstorm now?
Yes, I do. You need to give me a couple.
If you can get back stronger in that's one of the taglines of the podcast.
Yes,
more than welcome.
Back stronger would be
back
good.
Stronger. So you've done majority of games in the Champions League, haven't you? What is there? Is there a standout moment where you've been away TNT Sports and you've
Crouchy,
watched
honestly,
a game
do you know my standout moment? And you think I've lost my marbles. My standout moment was really annoyed me, and it was Newcastle losing a penalty in the last couple of minutes against PSG.
Yeah,
and I thought it was a scandalous decision. I really did. I'm looking at it, and Fletch and I are talking about it, And we've actually looked at well, we can't give a penalty there. It was one of those ones.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And then the referee gave it, who incidentally had been brilliant up until then.
Yeah.
And I thought,
yeah, but you got the tone of that bang on, because I think everyone watching, it was almost in real time as you realised it was getting given, and you were questioning it at the time. And it was, you were, I know it's your job, but you did such a good sort of take on being a bit confused by it as well, because it was a bit confusing. Is it, do you feel like it's easy to be honest in those situations?
we've got to be honest. 100% you've got to be honest. The punters would far rather you be honest and get something wrong than not be honest. You know, but I mean, because the punters listening, they smell it, they're intelligent, you know, they love their football and they watch their football. So, I mean, for example, if the game's not good, you can't kid them on that the game's good. You've got to tell them the game's not great, but you've got to do it in a way that might entertain them a little bit, if you like. You know, rather than just say, "Us, it's rubbish. Us, what we're going to do tonight? We're going for a pint." You've got to give them. You've got to give them a reason, perhaps, why it's not a great game. So,
do you enjoy it, Joe? Do you enjoy doing the punditry stuff?
I do.
And,
I do. It's like,
and being around the game.
I love going to the games. The studio work is good, but you're separate. You know, you got a job to do. But I love going to the games. And then, it was the West Ham Newcastle game in the Premier League this year was incredible. West Ham ended up on the wrong side of it, but that was like when the games like that, it's just chaos. And I like at that moment, or the West Ham final against the Fiorentina.
Oh, the
when
conference.
I just like when Bowen scored, I just turned around and just was looking at the crowd, and it was just like grown men, just floods of tears, like, and I was like, I'm not just talking one or two, I'm talking most of the crowd in floods of tears, and then all of a sudden, you know, then the players' families on the pitch, then there was a few people I knew blagged onto the pitch, and it was just a carnival atmosphere. Now, you're right in the middle of it all. Colton, who I was working with, just down tools.
Yeah,
he bolted for 20, 30 minutes.
Money.
Yeah, and I'm just like how lucky, you know, because when you play,
be
you
on the
don't,
pitch
you
in
don't
that
appreciate it, like winning things or having a moment. You don't really, but I just thought, wow, this is incredible. And then them games, you have some stinkers, didn't you? Like there's some, you know, some games that you like.
But being a fan of a club, that's what it is. You get through it.
You,
But that's
you
what
had
I said.
You had that moment, didn't you, in
At
21?
Chelsea.
So obviously you played the final, obviously lost 2007. Then you 21 in Porto, beat City.
That's my favourite moment.
The reaction for
that's
you
my
was
favourite
brilliant.
moment as a pundit, because like it was almost like I was watching
Which moment?
Chelsea, and it was just after COVID, was just half the stadium was full, and we was on the gantry outside, so we're punditing, and was all the Chelsea fans were there, and you know, obviously they see you, and then they'll be singing to you and all that, and I'm getting into the game. And Lineker was doing it at the time, and everyone, and they're all very professional, and I was just losing the plot. And then when I was singing with the crowd, getting the crowd going, and at one point I've run into the crowd. My son was there, my little boy with Tell, and I just jumped in. I'm in with the crowd, and I'm supposed to be working. And me and they're going, get him back. I can hear him back. Get him back. Get him back. And then I just got dragged away. It was like, you know, like the Kevin Costner Whitney Houston film where this big Portuguese bouncer just grabbed me at the fat crowd. The bodyguard dragged me back up into the studio, like, and I'm all flustered. And it's like, and then you got the makeup girls doing my tie where I've just been in the mix. And you're back on air, and it was just like, what happened
But that's
there?
what it's all
but
about.
that's what it
Best
does,
moment
because
ever.
that's my point. You're speaking there, Joe, about West Ham. I think West Ham did everybody a favour, and probably did UEFA a favour as well, winning that cup.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at West Ham last year. Look at Olympiacos this year.
Yeah.
There's never been two cups celebrated more
I know.
in Europe. Honestly,
Yeah.
because it shows you what it means.
Yeah, I did both games, right? Olympiacos, you know, the Villa games, and I honestly, like when I went out to Greece to do to Athens to do the second leg. Obviously, we wanted Villa to do well, English club, you know, this and that. When they went through, I was like, I became kind of a fan of them, you know, and because you're around it and you see how much you see grown men crying. Yeah. Everyone was in tears. The owner would come down and he was like a god there, and you were like, I just hope they go and win the final now. Yeah. And then you see the scenes, you know, and having been there, it kind of rubs off on you.
It does. And that's it. All them like trips up and down the M1, M6 from January and February, and it's freezing cold, dodgy games. They all like when you get a game like that, you have to sit back and go, privileged to do this job.
Yeah.
Really do.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, so what about next year in the Champions League? We got Aston Villa in it next year. How are they going to fare?
I'm really looking forward. I think it'll be brilliant. I mean, the new format. I don't know an awful lot about it, but Sid, I believe you know quite a bit about it.
So, do you know what? I get treated like Ian Bill in the podcast. Do you know what?
Truth be told,
I wasn't more old this microphone.
Truth be told, none of us have any idea.
No.
But
It'll be good.
It'll be great.
That'd be great.
Man, it'll be brilliant.
Well, there's more games, isn't there?
Yeah.
In the best competition in the world.
I think Villa, they're riding that wave, aren't they? At the minute, they need to add some numbers to there and some quality to that squad. But it's nice to see new teams in there, like Newcastle. They obviously just make that step this season. Villa, can they go again? It's nice to see something. It just freshens it up, doesn't it? Especially for English football
There's a
as well.
brilliant wee stat going about, and I think it's correct. It's the first time there's been 4 teams from 4 different cities in England, believe it or not. I think so. I think that's a fact. But you're right.
So I'll Fletch, didn't you?
Fletch is like that, scrubbing something out for tomorrow.
He's
Can't
got
use
a
that.
dartboard at home with your face on. Real Madrid, right? Are they ever favourites? Like at the start of the tournament, like Man City were favourites, right? And then, and then they never really. They haven't been for a long time, but they consistently get there.
Yeah.
Or if they win it, they've got to be favourites.
Yeah.
Surely.
I think the one they won against Liverpool, none of us backed them against that team, and they managed to do it. And then this team are probably better than that team. They got arguably an easier tie. So everything about me is saying Real Madrid should win this comfortably, maybe 3-1. So I'm going to go against that. And I'm going to
fancy Dortmund.
Yeah, I just something in the I just like the story. I just like So I'm going to go 2-1 Dortmund. I've been wrong on every game I've done this year, but I'm going to go 2-1 Dortmund.
He's good at predictions.
That reminds me of your Everton scenario at the last day of the season. He went for Everton at Arsenal.
Really?
I thought I'd back it.
And they were neck and neck.
It wasn't far off. That was the thing.
Yeah.
I did again. They played well.
He had the
well.
draw and the win. Sid gave him the draw and the win.
They
weren't far off.
I took that. It was worth doing. But I think this is a different situation. Do you think the whole build-up to this and this being a final, which team does it benefit more? Do you think that doesn't really come into play too much here?
Real Madrid. It benefits Real Madrid. If it's a final, it's Real Madrid. Like it definitely. I think it's just the weight of it's the white everywhere. It's the name. It's the players. It's the manager. It does play a factor, I think.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, going back to more stats, they've won 14 out of 17 finals. Yeah. I actually think...
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think out of last year, I think it was last year they beat City, Chelsea and Liverpool. Is that right? Right? I think that, honestly, God, I haven't seen all their victories, but last year just summed them up. Yeah. I mean, they must have been out the tournament at least twice last year with some of the games. They just find a way. They know how to do it, and I'm with you. I would love to see Dortmund. I've got a wee soft spot for being at the games in Paris and indeed Dortmund, but I can't see another Real Madrid victory.
So this is a head and heart situation.
Yeah,
you're going with your head.
Yeah, I think everyone Real Madrid have won it enough, right? You see some of those players, like there's some great players, and Dortmund's. Their route to the final has been incredible to kind of turn around. Even they would look out at the group stages, and then to get through that group and then consistently win against the odds. Really, it would be great to see them do it, but I can't see it. I think Real Madrid win this.
Score?
I think it's tight though, 2-1. I reckon
2-1. What are you going with, Ally?
I'm going 2-0.
2-0, Sid?
I think it'll be 3-1 Madrid. I do. I think if you play this game 10 times, I think Madrid win the majority of it. I think Dortmund can get something, but I think on the day they just know how to win. They just get it done and get over the line. I'm going to say 3-1. Okay. You?
I'm sort of with Joe, but I kind of lean into the romance of it all. I love the idea that they'll win it. I think the fans will be better drinkers, better party, and I think it's going to count for quite a lot here at Wembley.
Well, we're all going to be here as well, so that counts for something.
Yeah.
Especially here in the box part.
I want to go 2-1. I reckon. Yeah, I see that.
Chris, let's do it.
Well, lads, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having us.
We'll have a great time. Hopefully, it's good. Listen, we're not fans of really either team, so we can have a good session after anyway.
Yeah. Hey.
Is that allowed?
That is definitely.
It's in there now.
That's definitely happening.
Right, this isn't just football, this is Champions League. With TNT Sports, you get exclusive UEFA Champions League, Europa League and Europa Conference League football, along with the Premier League, the best of rugby, boxing, UFC, MotoGP, Formula E, NBA, WNBA and more. Stream TNT Sports on Discovery Plus or watch TNT Sports channels on BT, Sky and Virgin Media. Subscription required. Age 18 plus, T's and C's apply.
Fantastic.